So in 2002, you were signed by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mm-hmm. How did that feel?
That was good, and it was crazy because I remember there was a story in when I was at the Combine in February 1998. I remember as I was going through the interview process, and I knew the Steelers weren't looking for a quarterback. And at that point, I was walking down the hallway, and I remember the Steelers suite. And I said, oh, wow, here's my opportunity to go in and introduce myself to these guys. So I walk in, I see Coach Cowher, and I'm like, hey, Charlie Bass. Oh, I know who you are. Come on in here, have a seat. So he introduced me to the Rooneys and Kevin Colbert. I mean, not Kevin Colbert wasn't the general manager at that time, but there was another general manager. He introduced me to him. And at that point, I said, hey, Coach Cowher, I said, I know you're not looking for a quarterback now. I said, but if I ever have an opportunity to play for you, I will one day. And we kind of laughed like, okay, we'll see, and kind of, walked out the door. And lo and behold, Kevin Colbert, who was in Detroit at the time, now became the general manager in 2001 in Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. So as I'm kind of going through it, and I knew I was going to become a free agent, and he says, hey, would you want to come in for a visit? And I'm like, absolutely, I would. Who wouldn't want to go to Pittsburgh? So I came in for a visit, and I remember he said, we're going to meet Coach Cowher. So I got all suited up, and I'm ready to go. And I go to the facility. He's like, no, he said, Coach Cowher's not here. We have to go to him. So we ended up taking his drive, and we go to this hot gym because he's watching his daughter play basketball. So I'm standing there. I'm like, who is hot in here? It'd be like 90 degrees. So I start sweating. I take the jacket off, and I finally got up there to Coach Cowher, and he says, why do you want to play here? I said, Coach, you remember that conversation 4 years ago? He said, where, in Indianapolis? I said, absolutely. I said, I told you if I ever had an opportunity to play for you, I would. And this is the time. And that's how I ended up here in Pittsburgh.
What do you consider the highlight of your career in the NFL?
Highlight of my career? There's many. Obviously, the first start, on Monday night against Tampa Bay, everybody's watching. It was the first start against the Steelers when I was with the Lions and being part of that whole coin flip issue in 1998. Whenever that was Jerome said heads and he calls tails when it's going to the ground, and everyone's like, you said heads. He's like, no, I said tails. And we end up getting the ball back. We won the football game, and it was something that was the game that was talked about for a very long time. But as I kind of go through my career, for me, there's two, and that's bringing a Super Bowl back here in 2005 was Super Bowl 40, and that was something because we waited 25 years for that to happen. Born and raised here, and my family excited about it, and be part of something special, and have that parade as you kind of go through downtown on that slow ride during that parade, and everyone coming out waving at you, and you have celebrating that with 250,000 people, and to do that once, but then you turn around and do it again. When you do it for a second time, that makes you appreciate it because all the memories that you had on the first Super Bowl, because that was a very special team because no one ever did it before. There was only one person that went to the Super Bowl that year, and everyone else was experiencing it. But that person who went to the Super Bowl lost it because he was here in 1995. His name was Willie Williams, and they lost to the Cowboys. So when you see a bunch of guys all celebrating together and kind of going through, that's a special moment. Then when you get to that point of winning it a second time, you watch now the first time experienced guys go through it. And you're kind of like, you're smiling and you're like, I remember that. I wonder if I was that gullible whenever, I was going through my first, Super Bowl. But, when winning Super Bowl 40 and Super Bowl 43, those were two special moments.
What do you miss most about playing pro football?
Well, my body doesn't miss getting hit, I can tell you that. But, the relationships that you build. Because you're in the locker room, it's close-knit, you're around each other probably more than you are your family because you start the process in April. You don't finish up, hopefully, until February, and you're around these guys the whole time. And, the guys are very different in different ways, but they're special. And I think that's something that when you have and you grow up in that locker room setting and the relationships that you build, it's harder when you're done because you're not on the same schedule that they are. A lot of times, people wonder why your phone isn't ringing anymore, because you're like, man, I have a bunch of friends on the team, but then you have to think to yourself, did the phone really ring whenever I was playing? Because you had conversations with them in person. When you got home, you already talked about what you were going to do afterward. So those were some of the things that really I had to kind of learn. But being here and having relationships and still being able to be around them, those are things that I still try to keep, but you still miss that presence of being around them every single day.
So you played in the NFL for 15 years. Mm-hmm. The average NFL career is 3.3 years. What was the secret to your success in the NFL?
A lot of ice tubs, a very good massage therapist, and making sure that you take care of your body. And one thing that you have to learn at the NFL level, or really any level, that you can't burn the candle on both ends. You have to take your job serious. You can't turn around and party on the other end like some people do, and they eventually, wither away their NFL career. And that was something for me to say, you want to know what? Let me show that I belong, and I still love the game. I had the passion for it. I wanted to continue to do that. And at an early age, I remember some veterans telling me, hey, the minute you understand the business side of the NFL, you won't take things personally. That stuck with me because I wanted to understand, okay, what's the CBA? What did this whole collective bargaining agreement mean? I want to know all of that. And I would learn that at a young age because we had that veteran presence in our locker room. And that was just something that stuck with me because whatever decisions were made, I was able to get past that. And now being able to, and as the longer you get in your career, you're now able to share that with a lot of younger guys to let them know, hey, I understand it. Don't take it personal. Things happen. Fans will love you. Fans will hate you. You can't please them all. That's just how it's going to go. And if you read the paper, that means if you're going to read it on the good days, that means you better read it on the bad days. And that's something that really, so you just kind of, I was able to even keel. And one thing about it was the fact of whenever the game of football was over, I never brought it home. Meaning, if I had a bad day at the office, had a bad game, yes, I'm pissed off whenever I drive home for 30 minutes. And when I finally get home and I walk through that door and I see my family and I see my dogs, it's all love. And I'm able to shut it off. And now you can kind of shut the outside world of sports out and now focus on family. And that's kind of keeps you grounded.